Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. Today I have a layout process video for you as part of the Layout a Day challenge that I participate in several times a year. Now this challenge has a theme, and this month's theme is architecture, and we don't necessarily scrapbook about the theme, but we're inspired by the theme to tell certain stories. Today's prompt was inspired by this aqueduct in Wales, part of the United Kingdom. And the UK has many canals that were used to transport goods before the invention of trains. And this particular aqueduct is a feat of engineering that connects two banks across a river. And so the story is about connections. So now you can see how the theme works into our stories. But I'm not going there. I'm actually going to talk about the architecture and particularly the bigger story of these canals and canal boats. While I was chatting, you saw me cut some photos apart, and those are photos I just grabbed off of YouTube, and I've sized them down to about 1.5 inches tall by about 5.5 inches wide. And I've got 5 of them, so I've cut them apart into these long, narrow photos. And now it's time to decide what papers to use. Since I just got my order in of the Vicki Boutin Sweet Rush collection, which is her latest collection, and I just looked at it all, I found a watery paper and a cloud paper, and that's just perfect. So I'm going to do a split design, 1/3, 2/3 split design here. And so I've got 1/3, which is 4 inches of the top is going to be that cloud print. And the 2/3 is going to be that water print down at the bottom. And I just piece it back together using an old branding strip that is not an attractive branding strip to use for other purposes. And I just glue that all back together. And then I pull out a few other things. There was not enough contrast between the blue cloud print and the blue water print. So off on the left there, you see a circular motif piece of pattern paper, and that is from Heidi Swapp, and that's her newer collection. I can't quite remember what that collection is called, so I'll pop it up on the screen when I can figure out what that is. And I'm going to trim that paper down to just show portions of those circles so that I have the color and texture without it being full circles. I also have embellishments from the Sweet Rush collection, chipboard embellishments, that I've started cutting apart to see which pieces I'm going to use. And I found a couple of really good pieces that I liked. There's a notebook edge chipboard piece that I like there because this is just about me making notes about these YouTube channels that we like. And here you see me cutting apart the packaging from the sticker book. And so I'm going to just reuse some of the packaging to create a journaling card, which is also going to be a journaling pocket because I always have more to say than will fit on the front of a layout. So I'm just getting more and more used to the idea that I'm just going to create pockets for pretty much all of my layouts now. I have a hard time editing down what I want to say. And the story is bigger than just watching these YouTube videos and being fascinated by narrow boats. And yes, that's what they're called. They're called narrow boats. Speaking of narrow boats, I've got some sailboat wood embellishments here that I'm going to cut apart to make them look more like narrow boats. And narrow boats are a little over 6 feet wide and anywhere between 50 and 70 feet long. And the original canal boats, like I said at the intro, were used to haul cargo around, but families would live on the backsides of these boats, and that would be their life. And it's really the history of the canal boats is pretty fascinating. But of course, these days, it's just recreation. Although there are a good number of people who live full-time on canal boats, and the YouTubers that we follow are indeed full-time narrow boaters. And it's really a fascinating lifestyle to us. And we've talked about going on vacation because you can rent narrow boats. We've talked about, trying to live in the UK and possibly living on a narrow boat. And so our imagination has gone a little bit wild since discovering these things. And there I am putting my dreamy title up in those dreamy clouds because of us dreaming about what it would mean to actually live on a narrowboat. And there are definitely things that I would not like because most narrowboats, unless you're plugged in full time to a marina, you don't have a lot of electrical power. So things like dryers or washing machines are pretty hard to come by on narrowboats themselves, which means you have to transport all that stuff to a laundromat, which would not be my favorite thing to do. And you're limited with water storage, again, unless you're plugged into a marina. But the fascination of living on a narrowboat is to not be plugged in and to just continuously travel this canal system and to see like beautiful parts of the countryside on the canal. Okay, while I was chatting again, I have moved on to other parts of this layout, including labeling each of those photos with a little sticker banner that has a sticker number on it, and then my journaling card gets a sticker heart with a sticker number on it in a color that matches with the appropriate banner on that photo. And I didn't have a black heart. Wonder why? I wonder why. But anyway, I created my own black heart by just using a marker. So black hearts are a little odd here, but I was trying to stick with it. So there we go. I'm adding a few more bits and bobs up there to my title zone. And then I'm just starting to embellish a little bit more here with some stickers. At any rate, this idea of living on a narrowboat is definitely fascinating, and there are pros and cons to it for sure, and I doubt we'll ever actually move there, but I do think someday we will definitely go to the UK and take a vacation, hopefully for a couple of months. If all of the stars align, that would be wonderful to make happen. And my husband's company actually has an office in London, so it's possible that we could do a working vacation and possibly head over there for a while. Who knows? Who knows what the future will hold? Okay, so I wanted to add a little bit more bits and pieces here to kind of fill in some gaps in the layout that felt a little naked. So I cut off another bit of that circular print from that Heidi Swapp paper. And I'm creating a little bunting banner here, and I'm going to add some twine to that. And I was trying to stick those buntings down with some repositionable adhesive, but I am out. I need to either go to the craft store or just get my act together and order some more at my favorite online shop. But so far, I haven't done that, so I'm still out. So it was a little bit of a tricky situation to get these banners to stay glued and all line up. But then once I've got the glue mostly dried, I was a little impatient here and started adding the foam adhesive to pop those up a little bit. And my twine was starting to pop loose from its glue because I wasn't waiting long enough. But I got that down, and then I tied a simple knot in the end of that twine, and I wanted to come up with some kind of boating knot, but I don't know knots, and honestly I didn't take the time to go look something up, so it's just a slip knot, which I'm sure is used in the boating world somewhere. At any rate, I was trying to add some more bits and pieces to mirror that element from the bottom up to the top of the page, but the top of the page was just feeling done. You can see where I put those wood veneer narrowboats above my title. After playing around with them in other places, I liked it up there because it added more dreaminess. And then I thought I was done, but then I did add a couple more bits around that title to help it stand out more from the embellishments I had in that zone. And that finishes it off, except for the rest of the journaling I'm going to hide in an accordion fold inside of that pocket. But as a layout a day project, I didn't have time for that, so it will come to me on another day. And for now, this layout is done. I'll leave links for any of the products I talked about, as well as the layout a day project down below. And I'll leave links for those narrowboat YouTubers if you want to go check them out and see what this thing is all about. Happy International Scrapbooking Day to all of you, and I hope you have great plans for this weekend. I will be sharing some of my festivities over the weekend, and I will see you next week with fresh videos.